This is basically green-black mid-range, splashing Lingering Souls. We've got a couple of Stony Silences in the sideboard. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm not a fan of Dark Confidant in straight green-black, so it'll be interesting to see how it feels in this archetype. This looks super fair. I can't wait to get run over by Hallowed One and Blood Moon. Blood Moon might not be that bad for us. We do have a good number of basic lands in our deck. So yeah, so there's no paths because at its core, this deck is only playing white to really enable Lingering Souls front half some of the time. Because remember, we're going to be milling Lingering Souls sometimes with Grim Flayer, and we're going to be discarding it at other times with Liliana the Veil or even Collective Brutality post-board. Could you elaborate on why you don't like Bob in green-black mid-range? Because Modern is a format that is about attacking and blocking a lot of the time. And basically, Bob is a card that puts you in really bad spots against really aggressive decks in Modern. And I think with once upon a time, these black-green decks had to play Dark Confidant to generate card advantage. But now we live in a world where Tireless Tracker exists. And because we can just play Tireless Tracker, we can generate card advantage without being obligated to play Dark Confidant. Magic Online is not available on OS X or Linux natively because it's written in .NET, which is not a cross-platform language. So I'm actually streaming Magic Online from a Linux computer right now, so it's possible to run Magic Online on OS X the same way I run it on Linux, which is using Wine. Well, we're going to take the Dwynen's Elite here, and then hopefully we're going to get Maelstrom Pulse some Devoted Druids here in a couple of turns. Wine is quality software, so it has every bug that Magic Online has in Windows represented through Wine. Wine's really kind of wild technology. Lets you play Magic Online. I play Overwatch on Linux too. Just lots of good stuff. I think that's probably too cute, Wonder Roy. Wine confirmed better than SteamOS. I mean, SteamOS is just Debian with a skin. And, like, Debian's a fine operating system. I play Overwatch. Who's my favorite? I really like Brigette. I usually play, I play Brigette, Mercy, or I'm blanking on the other big shield dude. The other melee character. Reinhardt. Yeah, Reinhardt's the other one. So Brigitte's my favorite, and then Mercy and Reinhardt are my alts. Because Brigette doesn't fit well in with every composition. Yeah, I like smashing people with hammers. Brigette and Reinhardt are both good at that. Well, I mean, at some point, we might draw a land, and that would be really neat. But for now, here we are. Am I attacking with a Tarmogoyf? I think I'm attacking with a Tarmogoyf. I don't know what SR stands for. Yep. skill rating? No idea. Terrible. Let's go with terrible. Well, I think we're dead. I also agree that that seems like a low number of lands. I'm a big fan of making my land drops, as people who frequent the stream will know. Stumbling and dying is one of my least favorite things in Magic the Gathering. I think about Titan Shift. I think Titan Shift is a very reasonable Magic deck that is incredibly boring to play. I think Elves is great. I played a bunch of Elves on stream. Whoa, I'm gonna get to play 3 lands this game. That's wild. I will respond. I respond to every deck submission, regardless of if I accept it or not. So if I am not willing to play your deck, you will still get an email. I usually respond to deck messages at least twice a week. So sometimes you can wait 3 or 4 days. Heading to Detroit? Nope. I'll be home streaming. Going to a Grand Prix is like taking my money and setting it on fire. And I like my money. I don't want my money to be on fire, chat. Why do you hate my money? I love my money. You can stay home and play a bunch of Magic. Why would I go to a Grand Prix to do it? What if I'm cold? You need to set your money on fire for survival, I understand. I'm really also not a fan of Grim Flayer in this archetype, because, like, he's a grizzly bear. And, like, he's never going to be able to attack in here, and enabling Delirium is going to take me 40 turns. Yes, we'll play trading creatures there, makes Tarmogoyf bigger, I guess. What do you think about Pentrex? Do you mean Pentad Prism? I don't think Pentad Prism, if you mean Pentad Prism, I don't think that meaningfully increases your speed. It, like, makes your Through the Breaches slightly quicker, but I'd rather just have more rituals if that was there. Is Mono Bluetron on the no-fly list? Yeah, it's not a deck that I'm very keen to play, Mokamook. It's not something I'll generally play for the regular $10 donation. I don't think that archetype's particularly powerful. Yeah, I agree with that. I think Grim Flayer certainly falls into the cool cards that will be much better in a new non-rotating format. They just come up a little bit short here. Yeah, I think we're dead. Actually, I guess it depends on the quality of their collected company here, but things are not looking good for our hero, chat. I have 3 basic islands that I really like. Actually have one sitting here. I found one in my old box lands. I like these OG Zendikar islands. These are the ones I use on Magic Online. I like unglued or unhinged islands, and I like the Time Spiral island with the lightning bolt in the background. Mark Rosewater has said on more than one occasion that a new non-rotating format is a when, not an if. The Journey to Eternity deck was very, very bad. It's too slow and clunky and has too many moving parts for Modern to be truly competitive. I never had a Grixis Fairies deck list on my website, handy dart. I tweeted a Grixis deck list at one point, but it was nothing I ever really played with. Would you call out an opponent using proxy and or fake cards? If I was in a competitive setting, you bet. They are breaking the rules, and if your opponent is breaking the rules, you should call a judge on them. Thanks, Stanley. Username Stanley Polo says I look handsome in a polo. Username checks out. You don't want to make Extended 2.0 because people like to play with the Magic cards that they own. People don't like rotating formats. If you want a format that rotates, play Standard. I think a new non-rotating format would impact the cost of Modern at all. You're right. Modern made Legacy a lot cheaper. No, I don't think it would impact the cost of Modern at all. Yeah, I think so, Handy Art. I think not only is the mana base painful, but you aren't able to play as many Mutavaults when you're trying to play 3 colors, and Mutavault is a pretty big upside to playing like the blue-red tempo and blue-black fairies. To probably make Modern more expensive, since any card that's legal in the new format and is good in Modern is probably good in both formats. That's maybe a little bit true. I don't know. Like, I think the overlap of cards that will be good in the new non-rotating format and the cards that were good in the previous format might not be as large as you think it would be. The fact that I don't have spot removal here and that I'm going to get to just start activating Elvish Clan Caller is probably going to bury us in the ground. Like, if they have 4 Clan Callers to search out here, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Would they stop supporting current Modern? You'd probably see a wider mix of events. You'd probably see slightly less Modern events to basically space out and add into a new format. Dark Confidant and Wizard's Lightning is not a combo. Is the thing. Alright, if we can rip a piece of spot removal here to kill the Elvish Clan Caller, we might be in an okay spot. Damnation, like, not amazing, but also okay. Yes, Wizards has said that they were... Well, Mark Rosewater specifically has said that there will be a new non-rotating format at some point. They also indicated that Arena would have a solution to your cards rotating in fall of next year, which to me implies that we're going to have a new non-rotating format by fall of next year. Well, it was not the Maelstrom Pulse or Damnation that we were looking for there. We're waiting for the next match of this league to pop. I'd just like to thank everyone for hanging out. I do appreciate it. My name's Jeff Hogan. I'm a full-time meme here on this channel. We play a ton of sweet Modern decks. This deck, like most of the decks we play here on this channel, is a viewer-submitted deck list. If you're interested in finding out how I could play your deck on stream, be sure to check out bit.ly/HugoSellout. The people that support my content here dictate what we play and how soon we play it. I wouldn't be able to be here day in and day out if it wasn't their very wonderful support, so it's only fair that y'all get to be the ones to pick what we play. Past supporting my content that way directly. You can also support my content by checking out some of my sponsors who support the stream. Cardsphere.com. We'd love to help you turn some of your cards into other cards direct with other players. There's no haggling. They just take a 1% fee off the top. InkedGaming.com would love to help you customize your gaming experience. Using code Jeff12, you can save 12% on custom playmats, mousepads, binders, and bags there. CoolStuffInc.com buys and sells a lot of cool stuff, including TCG singles. Using promo code Jeff5, you can save 5% on Magic, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh cards there. And of course, this stream wouldn't be possible without viewers like Anoronics, Justin Nivik, and all y'all out there. I do hope if you're enjoying the stream, at the very least, make sure you hit the follow button if you're new. Following the stream lets you know when I go live and with what. If you can't catch me when I go live and something that I'm playing sounds sweet on a particular day, also be sure to check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jeff Hoagland. All of my streams get archived there, and I break them up by deck, so you can watch just the matches that you care about. Yep, yeah, I think Origins is the place where whatever the new format is going to start. Would you really want to play a non-rotating format without fetches? No, I would love to play a non-rotating format without fetches. I think fetch lands are one of the worst things about Modern and Legacy. Their fetch lands are both tedious to play with in paper, and they make building mana bases trivial in a lot of ways to a point where it becomes uninteresting. So, Magic and games of Magic, in my opinion, are most interesting when both players have choices to make, and fetch lands invalidate a lot of interesting decisions you would have to make about mana bases when you would have to make about mana bases when you're building them, because it is just almost always strictly correct to have a mix of fetches, some shocks, and then basics in all of your mana bases. What I think about Blue Moon, I think Blue Moon is really bad. I think if you're looking to play a blue-red deck, you should just play the blue-red tempo deck that I've played. Basically, Blue Moon is a deck that's trying to hope its answers line up well against its opponent's threats, and it doesn't really have that flexible of answers. It's an archetype that the answers are very narrow and limited in just blue and red. Fetches, however, allow for 3 to 4 color deck, which in turns increases variety in threats and archetypes. I actually disagree with that statement, Rad. I think when mana is too good, it actually reduces variety of gameplay. And you see this in Legacy a little bit, especially when Deathrite Shaman was legal. It's gotten better since Deathrite Shaman no longer exists, but when everybody has great mana, the fair decks all just play all of the best cards. There's no incentive to choose between getting the good cards out of this color and getting the good cards out of this other color when my mana is so good I could just play the best cards out of this one and this one and this one and this one. Why not fetch Godless Shrine? Because I want maximum amounts of green mana for my Scavenging Ooze in this matchup. Scavenging Ooze is a relevant hate card against Storm, and the only white cards in my deck are Lingering Souls, and I don't really need to cast the front half of Lingering Souls. Once you understand the numbers, you know pretty much the formula. Yep. Our curve's really good here. Like, kill your dork, play Scavenging Ooze, play Lily, start pressuring your hand is great here. That's actually not strictly true. A lot of the land-based decks in Legacy also have, like, pretty medium mana bases, so they play a bunch of colorless and utility lands. How does Cheerios match against humans? You either kill them before they play their disruption, or you lose horribly. Liliana is very good in this matchup. Not only does she kill their dorks when they put them into play, but Storm is basically a critical mass deck, so being able to gobble up their hand while keeping their dorks off the table is very good. By the mana fixing argument against fetches, wouldn't that make colorless strategies more efficient and stronger than they already are? Well, colorless cards tend to be weaker than cards that have specific color requirements in them because any color can play them. But that is true. That's why when you see a absurd colorless card like Smuggler's Copter come into existence, almost every deck can play them. If you're planning on playing Liliana on 3, wouldn't it have been better to play Goyf on 2 for a faster clock? Maybe I would have been a 4-5. I don't know. I kind of want to just, like, be able to gobble up 3 things out of their graveyard next turn. Kind of just want to be able to gobble up 3 things out of their graveyard next turn. Oh no, chat. I wanted to eat my fruit cup, but I don't have a spoon down here. I forgot to bring a spoon down with me this morning. What a terrible travesty. I might run upstairs and get a spoon really quick because I kind of want to eat this snack. It's delicious. Sip it. Just shotgun it. Now, it's best you gotta, like, mix it up. We're gonna finish dumpstering the Storm player game 1 here, and then we will, I'm gonna eat their Burrels and stuff here. I'm gonna leave 2 activations up here, I think. I do not read the story that Wizards post. If you would play Abzan for some reason, would you play Path as an answer? It depends on what kind of Abzan deck you're playing, Cool Cat. Like, are you playing a full 3-color deck, or are you playing a deck like this that's just green, black, splash, white? Again, my opinion going into this league is that I don't think the white cards are a meaningful addition to this archetype, and I think deviating from playing straight just green, black is unnecessary with the answers that we have today. I mean, they don't know we're Abzan, but, like, the white cards don't do anything in this matchup. I've got, like, 2 Stony Silences, but they're not coming in here. And, like, Lingering Souls is bad in this matchup. Take that back about my boy Siege Rhino. Look, the only reason to play Jund or Abzan, in my opinion, is if you love Bloodbraid or Siege Rhino. If you love those cards, it's okay to play them, because Magic is a game that you should be playing for fun. You should make a spoon out of the foil of your fruit cup. It's actually a plastic cap. It's not foil. Otherwise maybe we could improvise. It's fine. I'm gonna run upstairs and grab a spoon and some cheese, I think. I've already told Christy that when we move in the spring, I'm definitely making sure my new office has a mini fridge built into it. Huh. I think I'm just gonna ditch Electromancer and Repeal here. Life gave you spoons attached to your arms. I am not an animal, chat. I am a human being with dignity. I am not proficient in improvised weapons. We're just planning to move houses, Pimped Up Monk. We're still staying in the Bloomington normal area. We just want something that's a little bit bigger than what we have now, or not even bigger, a little bit newer. The house that we're in now is like pushing 50 years old, and the upkeep is just not something we really want to do. Well, that's unfortunate. And then, what was I gonna say? We also want to change school districts before the kids start kindergarten. This could be a grape shot, kill Scooz, kill Liliana. The order that it put them into the graveyard is wrong. If only there was some kind of computer software that could keep track of what the storm count is currently and let me know. Maybe we should invent one of those at some point. So their hand is Grape Shot plus Unsubstantiate. So they can't kill Liliana and Skooz. They have to pick one or the other. They're choosing to kill Scavenging Ooze, I guess. Alright, so I'm going to eat some of their useful cards out of the bin. I think I just want to eat Ritual plus Gifts Ungiven here, probably. Actually, I probably want to eat, like, Ritual. Hello, Kitty Island. Thank you. Thank you very much for the support. I do appreciate it. Kinda sad that I ditched my second Scavenging Ooze. Maybe that was a mistake. I do get to edict them off of this and then play Tarmogoyf, though. Liliana. Am I edicting them off of this? No, I think I'm actually just going to take the Unsubstantiate out of their hand. They fixed the storm counter. It's going to break flanking. Yeah, probably. Alright, so they have nothing. And I have a Tarmogoyf and get to edict this away next turn. If they draw past In Flames, we could get in a little bit of trouble. So, edict them off of this. And now I get to keep Liliana as a way to keep beating them down. Keep chewing up their hand here. And again, the fact that I had opted to discard my second Scavenging Ooze earlier, I think that was a mistake. If this Tarmogoyf had been a second Scavenging Ooze, we'd be pretty far ahead here. But as is, there's definitely a chance that like they could rip a good sequence and kill us here, I think. That's playing with some fire there, Jackal Girl. No, I think I like just the small white splash to like minimize damage from your mana base. But again, I think just like splashing in general is not good in this archetype because Tireless Tracker gave you a lot of the same grind aspects that Lingering Souls previously gave you. So I don't think that the white cards are meaningful additions to this archetype. And so far, we've not played any games to make me feel otherwise. All right, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go grab a spoon and some cheese. Look at that. 90 seconds to spare. So for those asking about my schedule, my normal start time during the week now is going to be about 9 a.m. Cornfield time. I'm going to be going till about 3:30 Cornfield time. The cheese is just some classic sharp cheddar. Why take out Abrupt Decay? Yeah, you just basically, you don't want to be left holding too many pieces of creature removal, is what it comes down to. You want some, but overloading on it is a quick way to lose this matchup. In fact, one of the reasons why the blue-red tempo deck is so good against Storm is because it gets to leave in 8 lightning bolts in this matchup and not feel bad about it, because when they don't draw a creature and you draw too much removal, you just get to blast them in the face with it. This is a matchup where Dark Confidant is really good, because we get to apply pressure while we disrupt. They have another piece of the puzzle in their hand, so I'm going to surgical the pieces of the puzzle out of their graveyard. I'd rather play Rex Sage in the sideboard of humans, because I prefer to be able to beat Ensnaring Bridge. Will I do Legacy for a meme Monday? Probably not. Playing bad decks in Legacy is pretty frustrating, because they're very bad usually. Alright, how'd we board? Let's take a picture so it lasts longer. Yeah, friendly leagues would be a big push towards encouraging me to play Legacy again. It just feels so bad to, like, have less of a chance of cashing, and because the decks are worse, and then having to have a better record to actually get any money back out. I'd have to see the deck list, Jace. I don't. Again, just, I never accept decks based on this is a generic description that could basically be anything. Alright, so I'm going to Fatal Push this so I can play Liliana and plus it next turn. They killed our clock here, which is a pretty big deal. That being said, because we took all their pieces of the puzzle away, we do have a pretty... They're going to have a harder time grinding through a card like Liliana the Veil here, because that's their main source of way to catch back up in cards as pieces of the puzzle. Yeah, the Spellbomb plus the Liliana. We put him in a pretty bad spot here. I guess they could have Repeal. Repeal gets them out of the Liliana. I guess not really. So I'm going to let this resolve. And then in response to my trigger still, I'm going to Spellbomb them. So I can draw a card here to keep my Liliana. This gets rid of one of the resources and lets us keep Liliana in our hand. Because Liliana is definitely locking them out better than Spellbomb is. Just a little baby Tarmogoyf. Nothing to see here. Morning DH World. Afternoon now. I guess morning on the left coast still. Alright, died to Elves, beat Storm. Yeah, those are probably how I expect those to go. Elves is a tougher matchup for fair decks like this. They have a hard time attacking through on the ground, and they just like go so wide, especially with Lead the Stampede. Lead the Stampede lets Elves grind so well against a deck like ours. Yeah, right? It was a 7-8 still after we spellbombed them. Yeah, Clan Caller's pretty good. For sure, Clan Caller's pretty good. Ooh. This is a reasonable keep. Hopefully the opponent is playing a deck where Fatal Push has a text box. Again, one of the liabilities of playing a fair deck like this. Sometimes your opponent's playing like Celestial Colonnade or Ad Nauseam, and then these Fatal Pushes one of a text box. Bogles. Hardened Scales. Fatal Pushes a text box. God bless. It's like, what are the odds of having 4 pair when you draw up to your 8th card? I think I just take Hangboy here. It's their way to generate card advantage. So I get to take their stirrings, I get to fatal push this, and then we just need to find a threat. And then hopefully we can close this game out. Again, because we're not pressuring our opponent, though, we are giving them a lot of chances to kind of like draw out of what we have going on here. I think Traverse Shadow is well positioned. I think trying to metagame in Modern is absurd. I think in any event that has a lot of people showing up to it, there's, 2 or 3 dozen decks that you could expect to play against at any given point. And I think you should just play a deck that you enjoy playing, that you feel is proactive. Alright. We get some value out of our white cards here. Get to bring in Stony Silence. Last Hope also decent. Liliana the Veil kind of medium. Thoughtseize kind of medium. Bring in a Collective Brutality as a piece of spot removal. Tribal is a card type. Tribal is a card type for some reason. Alright, I finished my cheese. Onto my fruit cup. Fruit notes, chat. What's a tribal card? Bitter Blossom is a tribal card. The Tribal Fairy. This has got to be a mulligan, right? Seems very good. I would not like the one Nihil Spellbomb left in my deck. I think the bar in the honey ad is supposed to represent, like, it searching or something. I don't know. People ask that a lot. That's just the ad banner that they sent me. When people want to advertise on the channel, I give them the dimensions for a banner and then say, fill this with stuff and send it to me. Apostle Man, the data that you are using to derive that conclusion from is incomplete or small to the point of being pointless. Like, you're basically just deriving that off the Modern Pro Tour, and the Modern Pro Tour predated Jason Bloodbraid unbannings, right? I just want to kill one of their namesakes here. Someone asked what's in my fruit cup. It's actually a fruit and oat cup. It's got like pineapple in it and peaches maybe, or pear. I don't know, it's good. I think I'm okay if they want to trade. Oh, they can't even trade because it's an artifact. Does like I'm fine if they want to trade this for these, but they can't activate this. Durf. It's actually just Grizzly Bear. Duh. Okay, maybe because this is Grizzly Bear, I should have played Bob. Yeah, I should have played Goyf Bob there. I'm dumb. I was eating and not thinking about it. 10 out of 10 should have played Goyf Bob here off this fetch land. I was thinking they'd shoot my Dark Confidant. For a fun change of pace. I mean, for dollar dues, I'll play anything. Usually I look for a pretty big donation to play formats that are not Modern, though. Modern's just more popular than other formats. And, like, other things like Cube and Standard, there's really an oversaturation of people that play those formats a lot of the time. Like, when Standard's popular, there's a ton of people playing Standard and not a lot of people playing Modern. And when Cube exists, there's like a ton of people, like a lot of the other big Magic streamers like dive full on into Cube, so. We did an M19 draft on what's it called, on Magic Arena yesterday. Wizards of the Coast paid handsomely for that one. God bless. Thanks for the sponsor. Stony Silence was good there. It's definitely a powerful 8 card out of the sideboard. What's my opinion on the Hardened Scales Affinity deck? I mean, it ticks the boxes that you want to tick in Modern, which has a powerful linear draw. I don't know if the interaction that it presents is particularly interesting. I think that the fact that it's another strategy that loses to, like, artifact take that people are already playing is probably a little bit medium as well. I really feel like if you are going to play something kind of outside the box in Modern, playing something that's outside of the box that loses to a bunch of the hate cards people are playing anyways kind of defeats the purpose. The arena segment went great. The average viewers we had for it was 88% of the maximum that they were willing to pay me, which was awesome. It was well over the 600 minimum. So we did hit the bounty. Thank you everybody that tuned in. Yeah, the arena segment's on YouTube. All my YouTube stuff gets published the afternoon after I'm done streaming, so that went up last night along with the rest of my leagues. It was indirectly. Yeah, the Six Mountain Belcher was really sweet, Godmaker. I was indirectly sponsored by WotC. So Twitch has this thing they call a bounty board, where game developers can post a generic, hey, if you stream our game for an hour with these minimum viewer requirements, we'll pay you X dollars based on how many viewers you had, up to a certain point. So there was a generic posting for Magic Arena, and I was like, hey, I stream to people that would watch Magic Arena. Normally I haven't taken any of those bounties before because my viewer numbers for, like, other video games, like non-Magic games, aren't particularly good. You need at least 600 people. But for Magic Arena, we had well over 600 people that stayed, so really appreciate that. Where's our cut? Your cut's here. I'm here every day providing a cut for you. I dance for your pleasure. I'm basically a monkey. Actually, fun. I haven't showed these on stream yet. These aren't finished, so I'm working with. I don't think she'll be upset if I show some of these. So we're gonna be doing some rebranding on stream. And thanks for helping me better my Magic skills every time. Cool Cat, thanks for the 313 subscription. Speaking of dancing, I have Inkling Customs is going to be doing some Hooglandia themed artwork for us. I always refer to myself as the court jester, dancing for y'all's entertainment. So she's doing a few of these up, and we're gonna have some tokens and stuff that she's gonna be putting together for us too, which is great. So we're gonna have a couple of court jester themed ones and other things like that. The Stream Decker partially works on mobile. Why didn't they Faithless Looting on one? Alright, well, I'm gonna take it away now. We need a dancing monkey emote. Where can I see her work? Inkling Customs? I can link her Twitter. She's got a bunch of good stuff on there. So once those are ready, I'll have ones. You'll be able to buy them from her, and I'm probably going to buy a batch and then sign them and mail them out. Thanks, Spartan. I appreciate it. Thank you for the biddies. There's a puzzle piece icon on the mobile app. If you click that, it should show the Stream Decker thing. To my knowledge, there's a bug with it currently where it only updates when you manually clear the cache for the Twitch app. So they have a white splash. Okay, so they must have Wispmare in the sideboard. Oh, they have Garg. They have Garg suspended. Thanks for all the sexy dances, Mr. Jeff. Thank you, Flippos, for the 4-month 3-sub, and welcome back. I appreciate it. Hang boy. All right, so their hand currently is Bridge plus Walking Ballista. I think I'm just going to go Spellbomb plus Bob here. The opponent's deck got popular when Stitcher's Supplier was printed into the format. Very, very potent magic card. Adds a lot of consistency to decks looking for specific cards to get into their graveyard. And had good results to the PT afterwards. True, that's true as well. The Oratog, I got you. Thank you for the 3 months and welcome back. So, traditional Dredge doesn't really have a good way to leverage sacrificing Stitcher. So I have to imagine that Stitcher is probably worse than... I would venture to guess that Stitcher in traditional Dredge is probably worse than Shriekhorn. Nice, Lionel. Congrats. Green Black Elves is really good. I'm going to shock this in. Play this Liliana and uptick. I mean, Neonate's also menacing, chat. You need to not undersell how menacing Neonate can be. Getting into Modern with a similar list to your blue-white control deck, and I'm trying to understand many of the decks out there. What are the 3 best and worst matchups? I don't know. I don't know that I've played enough with the archetype to really have something that defined Hello Kitty. Because I have the Spellbomb, Jack. Alright, so I'm going to Maelstrom Pulse this. And now, in response to this Bridge trigger, I'm going to go ahead and Spellbomb them. Because Bridge has an intervening if clause. Or, it's not intervening if, right? Yeah, it is. If it's in your graveyard. Yeah. Intervening if is the correct terminology. So if we exile their graveyard before the bridge trigger resolves, they will not get their trigger. I actually think the Vengevine matchup is pretty reasonable for the blue-white deck. Not only do you get to leverage Rest in Peace out of the sideboard, but Terminus is very, very good against them. And Path to Exile is also efficient removal. I think graveyard-based aggressive decks like this Vengevine deck are actually a big reason to play blue-white control. Like, nothing's unlosable, but I think blue-white has a lot of the tools that you would want to be able to beat the opponent's deck consistently. Thanks for the bits, Neil Drox. Yeah, I think they probably should have cracked the Hangerback Walker in response to Spellbomb there. They could have gotten 2 Thopters and a well. We're dead. This matchup's probably very bad for us. Even with, like, we had our main deck Spellbomb there and we just kind of got dumpstered. Didn't really matter. I think I want these Damnations. I guess I actually have to kill them, right? Which makes Damnation worse. Okie doke. Yeah, so the opponent's deck is really light on lands. So occasionally you could screw them with Fulminator Mage too, but the big reason to bring in Fulminator Mage is because it's an instant speed way to exile their bridges for 0 mana. Is exactly correct. Jeff, I want to make a fair deck. I have Dredge, Red, Black, Panza, Titan Shift. Do you think Black, Green is good? Yeah, I think both Black, Green and the Blue-Red Tempo deck are great fair decks. Mardu Pyromancer is also fine. My four recommendations for fair decks in Modern right now are Blue-White Control, Green-Black Rock, Blue-Red Tempo, and Mardu Pyromancer. Sure, Velo. When the reason why the BridgeVine deck is great is because when you draw the Stone Cold Nuts, you're going to beat almost anything. Like, you can't measure how a deck does against a linear combo deck when you're measuring against their absolute best draw. Like, their absolute best draw is going to beat most things regardless of what those things are doing. That's why the linear combo deck is good. It's not intelligent or consistent to approach every matchup with going, oh, well, I can't beat their best draw, so I can't beat anything. How do you feel about Burn? I think Burn's a fine deck. I think any deck that can consistently kill its opponent by the 3rd or 4th turn of the game is hard to be too bad in Modern. I think Burn is worse than it's been in a long time because decks like Hollow Vine and Hollowed One and Humans all put very large creatures into play pretty quickly, but I don't think it's a terrible choice. I'm gonna go ahead and just eat this bridge now, actually. Let's get that right on out of there. I think that Jund is in a good spot. In my opinion, there is no compelling reason to play Jund as opposed to playing Green Black Rock. I feel like the 3rd color doesn't add anything meaningful to your deck. How do I feel about Bogles? I don't know. It's a playable linear deck. It doesn't give you a lot of options throughout playing your opponent, but it can consistently run people over. How do I actually feel about Modern? I think Modern's great. I think there's a selection of decks to play regardless of what type of strategy you're interested in playing in Magic. Twitch app, let me use my Google survey money to buy bits, so have some free monies to put towards Scred Dragons, please. 10 out of 10, Wraithmorn. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. How do I feel about today? Today's great. I woke up today. That's got to be a great start to the day, right? Everybody gets to say that they successfully woke up. Should we have blocked Seer? Why should I block Seer? I'd much rather just preserve my health total. Like, I'm getting to untap and play this Liliana the Last Hope to eat Seer. Amulet Titan, Troll, 10 out of 10 will do. We're actually going to play Titan in the league after this one. So, this is match 3 of this league. This is match 4 of this league. So we've got this match and then one more, and then we'll be on to some Amulet Titan. I think if I didn't want to be asked how I feel about things, I wouldn't stream. A big part of what I do here is about being interactive with people. I think Cheerios is the type of deck, much like Grishelbrand, that has high highs and really low lows. It's the type of deck where when it's good, it's great and you feel on top of the world. And it's the type of deck where when you're losing, you're basically not playing Magic. And a lot of people are showing up to tournaments just to have fun. And that's not a fun type of Magic to play for like half or more of your tournament a lot of the time. Yeah, but there's an argument, Jack, that like, and I don't actually think that's strictly true about the Vengevine deck. The Vengevine deck, in my experience playing it in a few leagues now, has a lot of scrappy wins to it. Wins where you're not actually executing your primary game plan, but you're just like chipping in with crappy creatures and killing them anyways. You can read my articles on coolstuffinc.com here. Earlier this year, I wrote about Black Green Rock versus Jund versus Abzan. And my feelings on that still apply today. I do always love me a backup beatdown plan. It is quite possibly my favorite plan of all time. So this is going to kill Liliana the Last Hope, costing them a zombie. We're going to play the second Liliana the Last Hope, and they're going to concede. Or they'll be a glutton for punishment and not concede. Either way, we should be winning the game from here. Lantern also a deck that largely sees Split A because people not wanting to play. I think it's a mixture of the two. I think decks like a deck like Lantern and Cheerios are playable, but they're not. But they're playable. But the type of gameplay that they play is miserable to the point where these decks aren't good enough to play and be miserable while playing them. Like, a deck like Lantern, if it was like absurd versus the field, it would still see a ton of play even though it's miserable. But it's just playable against the field, so being playable against the field doesn't make up for the fact that, well, it's miserable to play. And even when you invest all the time and effort to play a complicated deck like it well, if the absolute power level of it doesn't fully reward you for that, if it's just like still just an okay choice. I saw Evan posted an article, but it was posted while I was streaming, so I've not yet read it. I think 2 chances is enough. I think the people, and I don't know what Evan's stance is, I actually haven't read what he's written yet, but in general, I'm of the opinion that people who equate being banned from playing Magic the Gathering to like being probation and given a second chance after committing a crime, that's absurd. Playing Magic isn't letting someone exist in society. Playing Magic is a luxury hobby that when you abuse the privilege of playing Magic by cheating, you should no longer be allowed to play. And maybe if you want to give people 1 chance to redeem themselves, fine. Give them 1 shot. But 2 chances, 3 chances, no. You've burned that bridge. You've messed up. You've chosen to mess this up for other people. You've stolen from people in tournaments. Leave. Get out of here. No sympathy. Yes, I agree. I think that when Wizards announces no changes, it would be nice if they explained why there were no changes. Second paragraph of Evan's article. Let's cut to the chase. I think Wizards should show Alex the door and ban him for life. Yes, agree. Firm agree. I think giving people a second chance after, I don't know, a 3 or 4 year break is probably fine. I didn't cheat at Magic when I was 18, 19, 20, 22, but at 27, I am a different person today than I was at 22, and at 22, I was a different person than I was at 18. So I do think it's capable. People are definitely capable of change. But at the same time, once you've gone and come back and failed again, just get out of here. I am 27, yes. I play an angry old man on television very, very well. I think I'm surgicaling their bridges here. I think I'm going to surgical their bridges. I think Bridge is better than Bloodghast, and if I wanted to take the Bloodghast, I would have had to do it on my turn anyways. Listen, chat, every child you have ages you visibly by many, many years. 91. Do you know your MBTI type? Not offhand. Alright, so the rest of their hand is Bushwhacker, Hangboy, Supplier. If their Supplier hits a Vengevine here, we could be in a lot of trouble. Grab a Godless Shrine here, so we can cast this Lingering Souls. Tarmogoyf is going to be a 3/4 here, which is nice. Get my block on. Blocking is much better against this deck when they don't have bridges. How do you go about constructing a good sideboard? The best way to go about constructing a good sideboard is to start with the main deck that you're happy with and think through all of the common matchups that you think you'll play against with that deck and figure out how many cards you need to cut in each of those matchups, and that will tell you how many cards you need to have to bring in out of the sideboard in those matchups. So, for instance, if you need to cut 5 cards against humans, you need to make sure there's 5 cards in your sideboard that are good to bring in against humans. Collective Brutality. That could be useful down the line. We just get to go ahead and play Lingering Souls here. Next turn we can go Brutality plus Flashback Souls, which is nice. Follow-up question, what decks are common matchups? I mean, in Modern, you just, like, pull up the MTG Goldfish site and, like, look at the top 15 decks, right? If you're going to a big tournament. If you're just going to a local tournament, you should probably know what your locals are playing. If we can dodge Vine for a turn or two here, we'll be in a good spot. Sweet. Yeah, and a lot of people, I think, build sideboards incorrectly. I think a lot of people approach sideboarding where they go, they just go, oh, humans is popular, so I want 6 cards against humans, without thinking about it in terms of, well, you want a number of cards to match the number of cards that you're cutting. They just like think about it in, if this deck is good, I want a specific number of cards to bring in against it. I think I'm going to be greedy and keep the Dark Confidant here. I'm definitely flashing back Lingering Souls this turn, but I might play Dark Confidant next turn still. No, I think that's an incorrect way to approach it, Hive Mind. You should have a plan before doing anything. You should have a plan to start. You should know that, like, you know, if you have 6 counter spells in your blue deck, you probably want 6 cards to bring in against humans because your counter spells are bad against humans. Lingering Souls has been really good here. I still don't think I like Dark Confidant, but the Lingering Souls have felt pretty reasonable, and Stony Silence definitely won us the match against the what's it called deck? The Hardened Scales deck. Do you take out Cryptic versus humans? It depends on the deck, Greater Aura. Depends on if I'm going to be able to do something meaningful with the fog, is basically what it comes down to. Alright, so this is what we've been preparing for, chat. Alright, so gobble, 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 and then I think I'm gonna Abrupt Decay this and take 3. Or do I want to Abrupt Decay this? I'm definitely Abrupt Decaying something here. I think it's Neonate because the Blood Gas just comes back, right? Potentially. We take 3, 4, and then we're at 10 and get to draw 2 cards next turn. If we find a Scavenging Ooze, the game ends on the spot. So honestly, playing this, any tips for sideboarding with landfall? Yeah, actually, JMB, if you go to the landfall page on my website, there is a primer on Cool Stuff Inc. that's linked that has a full sideboard guide in it. So, as I'm rating sideboard primers, I'm linking them on the deck pages there. So that jeffhoagland.com/decklist. And then if you go to the Nihil Landfall page, you'll be able to find some stuff there. Alright, there's one Vengevine. One Vengevine in. Neonate has Menace. So I couldn't single block the Neonate. Otherwise, you're correct. Smoke if you got him, chat. Smoke if you got him. I said a boom, chicka boom. Alright, chat. I'm gonna do this. We're gonna attack for 6. We're gonna play Dark Confidant number 2. We're gonna hope they're dead. Puff, puff, pass. Yep. Decent turn. Menace is, I agree. Menace is staple on red 1-drop creatures. What? This card needs an ability. It doesn't deserve haste. Menace, give it Menace. Yes, this will be perfect. Alright, so I'm gonna trade here because there's a chance we die if we don't trade. Maybe we went to the same summer camp, Maxwell. I think they'll print more mill support in Rav. I have no idea. I mean, we play mill pretty regularly on this channel. Like, there's almost Jackal Girl, like, basically make sure there's, like, never not a mill deck in the queue. I think we've got, like, 5 or 6 mill leagues on the YouTubes at this point. Huh. So, and we're going to do a formal wrap-up segment at the end still, like we always do. It's possible maybe I've undervalued... It's possible that maybe I've undervalued the potential for the white cards like Lingering Souls and the Stony Silences. I do feel like after playing these games that my hatred... I am willing to try Esper, Jackal Girl, so if you want to try that, I am into trying that. I feel like my assessment on Grim Flayer and Dark Confidant being medium is still pretty on point, but the Lingering Souls and the Stony Silences have both felt pretty okay. They've definitely both pulled us out of spots that if they were any other card that was just green or black, I wouldn't have been able to be pulled out of. What did we lose to round 1? I actually don't remember. That was like an hour ago. Elves, yeah, we died to Elves. We died in the most glorious of blazes to Elves. Hallowed Fountain. Ugh. Alright, so against Hallowed Fountain decks, you generally want to prioritize leaving your basic lands in your deck. And the reason for that is they're going to have Path to Exiles and Field of Runes, so you want to kind of make sure that you have enough lands to fetch up to punish those cards out of them. And like in reality, this deck is very close to just straight green-black rock, right? Like the fundamental difference is basically we have a very, very small splash. Find out here if they're just Kai or straight blue-white, looking like straight blue-white. This Liliana the Veil will give us something profitable to do with this Fatal Push, which is discard it. Yeah, this deck needs more trackers in it. But I'm not a fan of Bob, and I want more trackers. Basically, I would push this to be closer to the green-black rock style list that I've played in the past. Only with Lingering Souls and potentially some Stony Silence. Lovecraft, if you want to disagree or even agree with something, I need validation of why. You don't just like waste space in chat and be like, this is the best. Tell me why it's the best. Why is it a meaningful addition? Why do we need that third color? Why do you think it's the best? To be fair, you get locked out of a non-zero number of games by Blood Moon even with green-black. And again, this deck isn't a full Abzan deck. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's probably reasonable. The only white card in our main deck is Lingering Souls. And through the power of Liliana the Veil, you don't even have to cast the front half of Lingering Souls if you don't need to. Have I played a Traverse Abzan deck? Not in recent memory. I'm generally not a fan of that because the Traverse decks tend to lean too heavily into the graveyard, and these decks tend to already have too many graveyard-based synergies that cause people to board in graveyard hit against you to begin with. Well, that is a handful of Magic cards. This kind of matchup is hard for these green black decks. You're a dog to blue white. You are a diggity dog to blue white. This is a matchup where Dark Confidant's okay, but Tracker is kind of absurd. Concede was the right line. Yep. I like bringing in one Brutality, but I'm really not a fan of boarding all of them in. I have 7 1-mana discard spells, and the important thing to remember in this matchup is that we're the beatdown. We are the deck that needs to be applying pressure to them. The Souls Tracker and Liliana at 3, do you begin to want Hierarch? No, I don't think so. I think Hierarch's a pretty clunky card. We'll push things around and show you what I think I would like the deck to look like after this league is done and the wrap up. And yeah, if you're worried about Blood Moon, playing straight green black is a good reason to being worried about Blood Moon is a good reason to play straight green black. That being said, I just like to again identify it as it's been a while since I've played Abzan, and I like to reflect on the things that felt good and the things that didn't. It's pretty decent. I've been playing your blue-red tempo list recently, and I feel like if I have early pressure, it's very strong. However, without early pressure, I have to need to wait till turn 3 or later to stick a threat, and this seems slow. There aren't other good threats don't exist. Grizzle Oozolution, thank you for your squirrel for the biddies. I appreciate that. If they would let us register 8 Delvers, I'd register 8 Delvers. Another thing that I would like to say is, if you're not flashing in Snapcaster Mage on turn 2 when you don't have threats, you're probably playing the deck wrong in a lot of matchups. That deck plays Snapcaster Mage more aggressively than any other deck in Modern. People are so focused on getting value out of that card that they often fail to recognize their specific role in a given matchup. This is the desk that I have. This right here is why I don't like the traverse builds of... This is why I don't like the traverse builds of Abzan. People are bringing in cards like Rest in Peace against you even without Traverse the Elvenwald in your deck. And when you have Traverse the Elvenwald in your deck, you just get hosed by cards like this even harder. Part of the reason why the blue-red tempo deck is good is because its threats are evasive. If you want to play Burn, you could play Burn. And there's nothing wrong with playing Burn, it's a different deck. When it's incorrect to not play Snappy as a threat when you have no other threats. When you're playing a matchup where you are the control deck. Again, a big part of what makes the blue-red deck difficult and rewarding to play is that it's a deck that's very much about role assessment and realizing when you're the beatdown and when you're supposed to be assuming a more controlling role. So they're almost out of cards here, but they do get to Jace next turn, and they have AV coming up as well. I really think that if you wanted to add more threats to the blue-red deck, they need to be evasive. And honestly, that's why Nimble Obstructionist was such a breakthrough addition for the archetype. That was a card the deck didn't get to play previously. Having more threats that you can play in the late game at instant speed so you don't have to tap out is a big deal. When you're a control deck, do your flash creatures just become removal? Depending on the role, the point in the game that you're playing, yes, sometimes they just become removal. Arena went well. Arena seems like very reasonable software. It doesn't have formats of Magic that I play, so I don't know that it's software necessarily intended for me personally, but as far as playing Standard goes, it seems very reasonable. If it had Modern in it, or other formats that I was interested in playing, I would probably play it on stream on occasion, or some of the decks that we streamed. It still leaks memory. I mean, this one leaks memory too, so, you know, that's not really a knock against it. Let's see, they might just like Jace unsummon Dark Confidant here, because unsummoning Bob, we're just brainstorming, okay. How do you suggest people don't salt out? I struggle with not salting out. You're probably playing Magic for the wrong reasons if you're feeling frustrated. You need to focus less on playing Magic to win and more on playing Magic because you enjoy playing the game. It's very easy to become hyper focused on winning, and that's the only thing you're concerned with. There's a lot more to Magic than just winning the game, and Magic is a game that has so much variance embedded into it that if you're only playing to win the game, you're probably better off playing something else. I think I'm gonna hold this land to discard to Liliana. Nah, who am I kidding? I'm gonna ult the crap out of that Liliana. Alright, they get to pick up 4 cards here. Survey says, do you ever play people's homebrews on stream? Basically, everything we play on stream is a viewer-submitted deck list. If you look here, this is the list of decks that are waiting to be played. bit.ly/donation queue. Those are all decks people have sent me dollar dues that are waiting to be played. So, search for Azcanta's not flipping. Gosh, the way this played out, I kind of just want to plus my Liliana here. I'm going to do this and attack and see what happens. I guess I could have played both my cards and then not discarded anything. Maybe I was supposed to play both my cards and not discard anything here rather than hitting for 5. I do not want any of these cards. If I don't alt here, any land lets them attack her with Colonnade. I think this is the conservative pile. Just like take all their stuff away. And like doing this too means I get the back half of Lingering Souls. Yep. I mean, this isn't really terrible for us, right? Like, unless they have Cryptic to, like, tap our team and draw a card. Now, I'm not really afraid of a sweeper. I have plenty of spirits to fog this until I ult my Liliana. I got you, Amethy. And don't you worry, I'll be here. I'll be here when you get back. Whenever all your stuff is done. Wow, we get to them for a big chunk on the backswing here. Are they baiting a Settle the Wreckage here? Is that what this is? I wonder if they're baiting a Settle the Wreckage. Is this just Cryptic? Oh, we're fielding me off of white, sure. Alright, well they don't have Settle the Wreckage, that's nice. Been allowed to talk for far too long. I'm gonna leave back all of my spirits. I'm gonna go and hit with these though. Yeah, I like leaving. I think the conservative play is to leave back all of the spirits. No, Baneslayer has first strike. Baneslayer has first strike. So Sans Cryptic Command here. Oh, I could have attacked with this. I missed 3 points of damage. The reason why I didn't attack with this is because I missed it. There's you sitting at home wondering, why didn't he attack with the Treetop Village if he wasn't going to use his mana? Abzan writes is clunky and awkward. Alright, no Cryptic, no Teferi. Liliana ult should bury them here. D-Sphere would not have done it because I would have gotten to Abrupt Decay, the token that they were targeting with D-Sphere. Oh, D-Sphere for Lily herself. Sure. Yep. I got you, Atlas. Welcome to a live one. Glad you enjoy the YouTube stuff. I think that's overly aggressive, Victus. We're definitely going to win via the Liliana emblem. So I think getting super aggressive and then losing to a Path to Exile is unnecessary. Yeah, I'm just gonna hit them for max this turn. I'm gonna keep all of these, I think, actually. I'm gonna go Tarmogoyf, Duress, and then we'll flip Treetop to Bob next turn. Don't type bunt in check, guys and gals. It's literally explicitly listed in the channel rules. Did they find a sweeper? They can go field into Wrath of God here. I think this is field into sweeper. Okay, yep. Did I ever try Gitu, Lavamancer, or other aggressive creatures in the wizard deck? Nope. It's not a burn deck. It's not an all-in burn deck. It's a tempo deck. Playing other aggressive creatures pushes you towards being more something like the traditional red-white burn deck, and that's fine. That archetype is reasonable, but it's not what the blue-red deck that I've designed and played is looking to do. Those aren't aggro control cards. Those are aggro cards. They have exactly one purpose: to be aggressive. Well, Not having any Field of Runes in our mana base makes us a lot worse against these Colonnades. And Dark Confidant here, while it's kind of cute to draw cards, he could end up killing us. I mean, you can double emblem if we live that long. Should you bring back Skews? Oh, that's a good idea. I like that suggestion. It's like an A+ suggestion right there. Bob has our back. God bless you, Mr. Bob Fadant. Soulscar Mage could potentially be okay, but it's not a card that I've tried. Again, every card that you add to your deck has to replace something. So like, what card that we're already playing are we not interested in playing so we can play Soulscar Mage? I just feel like a lot of those cards that people are suggesting, they're fine Magic cards, and they go into more all-in aggressive versions of the archetype. But the reason why the blue-red deck that I built and played at Indy feels strong is because of its flexibility. So I could gain 3 here, or I could just Abrupt Decay Dark Confidant. Dang, I'm just gonna Decay Bob. Alright, I don't think I want to change how we sideboard it at all. Run it back here. Alright, it's going to be the last game in this league with green-black mid-range, and then we're going to be wrapping up with an Amulet Titan League. Thanks everyone for hanging out today. And again, this is one of the reasons why I often like, if you go back and watch the blue-red tempo leagues leading into the open, I was definitely becoming frustrated while playing the blue-red tempo deck constantly on stream, because basically the streams just devolved into me constantly telling people that the same cards over and over again were cards I didn't like and why I didn't like them. And so let's just like get off the topic. If you want to play different cards in the blue-red deck, go nuts and play different cards in the blue-red deck. The cards that I have in that deck, I've all picked and tuned and tested and played with, and they're all there for a reason, and I think they're the Magic cards you should play. And if for whatever reason you want to play something different, that's great. Feel welcome to play different things. Magic's fun. Building your own decks is fun. You do you. We played Amulet Titan in the past. Yeah, we played Amulet Titan on stream probably 4, 5, 6 times maybe. Played it a bunch last year too. Played it a few times this year as well. Correct. That's a great suggestion. You don't need my approval for every change that you make. Especially a deck decks like this that are viewer submitted deck lists, a lot of the time, like, quantifying cards that other people have made is a worthwhile thing, because I haven't made these decisions and thinking about them is interesting a lot of the time. Decks that I've spent a ton of time working on, if a card's not in the deck and it's not a brand new card, it's probably not there because I don't think it's good. Like, I always find that a really frustrating question, and I genuinely don't know a good way to really respond to it a lot of the time. People are like, do you think this card is good? And like, my gut instinct is to always say, no, I don't think it's good, that's why I'm not playing it. And it just, like, that sounds like a dick to say that, right? I feel like a dick when I say that, but that's like my natural response. Like, Do you want to know why I'm not playing it? Because that's maybe a better question, but no, I don't think it's good. That's why I didn't register it. Am I a Tarmogoyf fan? It's fine. I like that it's a big, efficient threat that doesn't require us to hammer our health total like what's it called does, like Death Shadow does. But Jeff, validate by different theory and tell me I'm pretty. You are pretty, Kent Ketter. You're looking real trim, actually. Kent Boy's dropped a bunch of pounds. That probably should have been a white source. Big fan of the stream. I was playing the blue-red tempo, but I was thinking about changing the mana base to have 12 rainbow lands and a bunch of humans to leverage something like Aether Vial. Thoughts? That sounds like a really sweet deck map, Amante. I think you should take that and run with it, and it has good potential to be a tier 1 deck in Modern. It sounds to me like that has the potential to be tier 1. Alright, 2 schools of thought here. First school of thought, we can play around the sweeper. Second school of thought, draw the sweeper or you're dead. What are my views on X as budget? I don't play budget Magic. I think I don't enjoy playing Magic with budget restrictions. So none of my choices for playing Magic are budget related. So there's a lot of people that produce good budget content. I am not one of them. I'm gonna get mana leaked, aren't I? Remand, sure. That was not quite a sweeper, but basically a sweeper. Remand in their control deck is let's call it interesting. We could call it questionable. Let's call it interesting. Again, just like prime example of why I think the traverse builds of these green-black decks are not particularly good. Yeah, Ryan definitely, when I went back to watch some of his commentary, he definitely approached his thoughts on my deck as this is taken a deck that he had played and made changes, and not this is a new, different archetype that happens to be the same colors as something else that he's played. And that, I think that's like, it's an awkward way to approach things. I don't know. Liliana the Veil, please. Liliana the Veil, please. Another land. God bless. Bubba Gore, thank you for the brand new Twitch Prime support. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now, and I appreciate you supporting mine this month. Thanks for keeping me employed. I agree. People are obsessed with ownership. People should just spend more time worrying about playing good Magic and doing sweet things and less time about, that's my deck idea, I invented it. Who cares? Nobody cares. Let's just like play sweet games of Magic. I think just Kai Nahiri can support 1 to 2 tap without being too clunky. Yeah, I think so, Coach. I think you want your land count to be really high, though. Honestly, I could even see playing upwards of 27 lands, especially with Nahiri to filter through them. Yes, Waffle. I think Mono Green Stompy is a great budget deck because the cards that make it expensive aren't super important. Teferi's not strictly a good game. I could draw a Maelstrom Pulse here. Or we could draw another land. Alright. Could you imagine? I want everybody to like look at our hand And imagine for a second if this card had been Tireless Tracker. If this card had been Tireless Tracker, not only would it have drawn us 3 cards, but it would have attacked Teferi for lethal here. It would have taken Teferi off the table. We'd have been up 3 cards and we would have killed Teferi. So, takeaways and feelings on Abzan after that league. I was actually really impressed with the white cards. Ren Drag, thank you very much for the 8-month 3 subscription. I appreciate that and welcome back. I was really impressed with the white cards. The Lingering Souls and the Stony Silences did things for us that other cards in other colors wouldn't have been able to do. Things I was not impressed with. The cards that I hate in regular green-black. Dark Confidant, Grim Flayer, these main deck Nihil Spellbombs. I think all of these are like kind of nonsense. I'm not a big fan of these. I think I would cut all of these. I would slide this extra Last Hope into the sideboard. I would maybe trim a Liliana the Veil too. I would go up to 4 trackers in the main deck. I would play at least a 3rd Scavenging Ooze. I would probably play 25 lands. Probably 1 to 2 Field of Runes. As far as the sideboard goes, sideboard was fine. I could take or leave some of the decisions in it. Sweepers are okay. I kind of like a split of Damnation with Languish, but 2 Damnation is also, like, okay as well. No, I'm really not a fan of Kitchen Finks. I think if you want to hedge burn decks, you should just, like, play Collective Brutalities, and I think Obstinate Baloth is probably the next best card after Collective Brutality. Call Omino, thank you very much for the brand new Twitch Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. A couple of people asked about Path to Exile. This is not an Abzan deck. This is not an Abzan deck, just like Mardu Pyromancer is not a Mardu deck. This is a green-black deck, splashing Lingering Souls. That's what this deck is. Your goal is to be able to play a functional game of Magic most of the time without ever worrying about your 3rd color. So that's why I think this deck was reasonable, is because it's just that good green-black core. And you have some Lingering Souls for some extra value against grindy decks and some extra blocking against creature decks. And then you get to play some Stony Silences on the board just to top it off. All right. That was...